Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now I hope you're all enjoying this terrible weather we're having at the moment. Force 10 gales and heavy rain and everything else. It's making it all rather terrible. Yeah, puts us all in a downer, doesn't it? So we have decided today we are going to rehouse one of our lovely little dwarf spiders, and that is the Dolichothele diamantinensis, which is the Brazilian blue dwarf. And we have got one in here, and these are absolutely exquisite. The dwarf spiders are really special, and these guys these come from sort of like a subtropical Brazil, and they've got just about everything going on. They really are a fantastically special little spider, really pretty. So what we're going to do, we have got a couple of these, and we've been growing them on for a long time now, and they've got to the point now where they're in their point of being ready to rehouse, which is a nice thing because we can go on a little bit about the size of them and the box that they're in now compared to what they're going to be going in, and we'll cover a little bit because quite often we get people asking us, you know, when should I rehouse my spider? When's the right time? So we will do a little bit of that once we've got this made up. So we're going to have a 20 by 20 by 20 cube. Now this is a Komodo cube, and you'll know from our old room I actually really like these cubes. They're really nice. They're just the right size that you can play around with them, do a little bit, and for dwarf spiders they're superb. They really are cool. And also as well, because they're only 8 inches square, we can get a few on a shelf, so you can make a nice little display out of them. They really are nice. So we are going to put this one in here. Now, as we said, this is our normal mix here. We will be getting back to some of the beastie mix in the near future, once we get a bit of time where we can actually get out and get some. But as a reserve, we mix up our potting compost, which is our same normal potting compost, and we mix that up with a little bit of cocoa fibre. As you know, we're not lovers of cocoa fibre, but when you mix it together like this, it actually works really well. It's a terrible substrate on its own, and I really try and put people off of using it as a core thing on its own, because it really is terrible stuff. It's not nice. And I don't know of any spider that we keep that would benefit from that actual bone dryness that cocoa fibre is when it's on its own. It literally dries out to a powdery dust. It's horrible stuff. But mixed in, we can do something with it. So I think actually I might put a little bit more in. We're going to put this in here. You'd be glad to know we've been working away in the new room. We won't have no more bags because we've got proper bins now to put our stuff in, which will all make it a little bit nicer. Now then, we've got some stuff here, and you'll see here, if you look on here now, this stuff is like pretty much straight out of the garden, and it is sopping wet. You see this here? This is sopping wet. We're not going to worry about that. It's not an issue. These guys like around about 80% humidity, so they're not going to be upset by this being wet. This has been out in the rain, so it's absolutely soaking wet. Same as this. This has been out in the rain as well. This is just a piece of bark. Look at that, just a piece of bark that's come off of a bit of wood like this, and this has got the lichen on. Now this lichen is very difficult to keep alive. It likes it to be quite cool, and it likes it relatively sort of wet most of the time as well. That's when it seems to do its best. But so we keep playing around with it, and you can find this stuff in branches in the woods and things like that. You can snap a bit off of a dead branch, you know, and use it and try it. It makes really nice stuff. So always worth a go. So we've got this other natural stuff here. This one's got a nice piece of moss already on it. We'll use that. We'll utilise that there. And then we've got a little bit of cork bark here that we can use as well. We can add that in here. Now, the Brazilian dwarf do in actual fact do some really cool webbing. They do some really nice stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to set like a little starter hole there, somewhere for it to disappear to. And all we're doing, we're just going to play around really. Now we've got a nice stick here as well. I want to try and utilise that. Try and do something with that. All we're doing really is we're just trying to make something that's a little bit pleasing to the eye. Nothing too spectacular. I've got a nice bit here.
Are they terrestrial?
They are a terrestrial spider, yes. But they do make rather good, cool webs. As you can see here, we just muck about with it until we get it where we want it. Just have a play around. This is the good thing about setting up your enclosures and stuff. There is no real right or wrong way. We are literally just looking to make something that's pleasing to the eye, you know, something that looks pretty, something that looks smart. And then obviously it needs to fulfill the care requirements of our spider as well. So we always have to bear that in mind as well. Actually, that's nice like that, look, a bit like that will go under there. So we don't need a huge amount of stuff in here. Just put a little bits in here. We literally just play around with it. And that's it. It doesn't take much at all. Now we actually haven't used our bit of lichen. So I think if we can get that. I don't know if that'll stay up there. There we are. We'll just leave it in there like so. Hopefully we can get enough water on there. We can keep that misted down. Now as these guys, they actually like a high humidity. So we can keep this enclosure a little bit on the damp side. But when I say damp, I don't mean where it's wet. We still want to be able to pick that soil up, rub it in our hands and it just fall off of our hands. We don't want to have it where it's sort of sticky. So try and keep it just on the damp side, but not too much. So we're just going to clean our glass here. And as you see there, it didn't take long, does it? Just a couple of minutes to have a little play around. And now this is going to be enough for this spider to become its forever home. And it will web up a huge amount of this. A lot of this will end up being webbed up. I'm just going to make a bit more of a burrow there. And by making a starter burrow, we are encouraging our spider to go where we want it to go. If we didn't do that, she would end up just digging up anything. Now there's a good chance she might do that anyway, but we are adding a little bit of a chance that we can get her to go where we want her to go. Right then, that is that. So that's nice and easy. Let's have a look at her. Now these guys are quite skittish. They're a New World spider. So they come from Brazil. Now very, very pretty. You won't see much in the way of defense postures or anything like that. They're quite laid back in terms of that, but they are skittish.
They love food.
They do love food. Look at the colour on that. Isn't that? I'll turn it a little bit. You stay still. I'll turn it a little bit. There we go. Look at the colouring on that spider. Now that is a really, really pretty spider. You've got blue legs there, green carapace. That abdomen. Look at that abdomen. Lovely red guard hairs on there. Very, very, very pretty. I say we do have a number of these, and this one has recently molted out, so we'll be able to sex this one later on, and we'll see what it is. This would be a spider we'd like to breed in the coming year. We have attempted them in the past, and we've never had a lot of luck with them. So I think we just need to get to a point where we can spend a little bit more time playing around with them, getting them to where we want them. Now, as you can see there, she's not actually, I say she, we don't really know what sex it is, but it's not showing any signs of doing anything at all. So we just need to keep an eye on her, because she might just decide to leap off at any moment. Now, as you can see here, if we pan out a little bit, and you'll see the size of this box, that water bowl behind her is about the size of, I don't know, an old 50p piece maybe, like a £2 coin. And you can see what they've done there. She's webbed up all of this floor. Now, she has been in this particular box since she wasn't much bigger than a sling.
Yep.
And we've grown her to this size, and we found that they've done really well like this. We have tried other ways of doing them, and we've given them a bit more space and done a few different things, and it's not always worked out well. So this is proved to be a nice system, and seems to work well with this particular spider. So as you can see there, the actual thing is very, very simple, and as we said earlier on, they have a really good feeding response. Bless you, my dear.
Sorry.
So their feeding response is normally bang on. Now you can see this one is in perfect health. Look at that abdomen. This is where we want to be. We don't want to be too big on the abdomen with these. They are a dwarf spider, so this one is pretty much full grown. It won't get a great deal bigger than this. I think we have got one other that's a little bit bigger than this, but they normally top out around about this sort of size. They don't get massive. So as we said, they come from Brazil, so we're looking at a subtropical sort of environment. So we're looking in the region of 70 to 80% humidity. They do like it nice and humid. That being said, when we've had them young, they like a little bit of moisture in their enclosure, but as you can see, this one is quite dry. It is quite dry, and they do really, really well. So when we say about the humidity, we are definitely looking at air humidity with these rather than a damp substrate. We don't want it wet. We just want it to the point where it's damp enough that we can crumble it in our hands and it falls off of our hands. It's not sticking to us.
Yeah, web's lovely and clean and
yeah,
as well.
They're really, really heavy webbers, and they make, you know, nice display spiders because of that. So they make up a really nice web display, as it were. So what we're going to do, we are going to pop her over here.
Let me get me started.
I mean, look at that. Look at the colour now. She's under that light. Actually, we look at the floor while you do that.
Sorry.
That's really cool. Look at that. You see them colours now popping under the light a bit more. You come down that way more. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. Alright, so let's get her out. We'll put her in, shall we? Right, we're going to see if we can get a go without literally just diving off. So they can be a little skittish. Here we go, we just touched her. She's come round to have a little look at us. This is fine. She's giving it what for. She's acting all big and brave, look.
Us little ones, you see.
Yeah, look at that. We're just going to get her to come out onto there. Oh my God, look at that. How can you not just fall in love with that? Wow. That is a super, super spider. Hold on, keep going. We are going to get a thumbnail of that because that is just delicious.
You're drooling.
That is absolutely beautiful, is it not?
Well, we're waiting to see.
Oh, wow.
All right, our turn.
Yep, had to get some pictures there. Look at that. Yeah, a bit more light. How's that looking? Oh man, look at that, she just pops. You can see them colours as you go round. You You see how they change with the light? Look at the abdomen. It's like a midnight blue underneath them red hairs. Green carapace there. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous looking spider. As you say, these won't get a whole lot bigger. So you imagine, you know, looking at her in this enclosure is a really, really pretty setup. Something lovely. We just follow her all the way around. You can get to see her every dimension. Now, in terms of feeding, we like to give these sort of up to about a medium cricket. And if we feed them, keep them on the small side, but more often, and you'll end up with a lovely spider like this one. Look at that blue. These really are underrated. We should see more and more of these. And hopefully we'll get to breed some. So she's got a lovely little piece of wilderness there. I mean, we could even add a few little little crushed leaves. We'll see how she gets on. Isn't that wonderful? Right then. There she is, look at that. Absolutely lovely spider. Right then, so that is our Brazilian blue dwarf. Now we're going to have another blue beauty, Brazilian blue beauty dwarf. Now then, we have got something else to show you. You'd have remembered with our orb weaver. Now she is up here, and she is slowly but surely becoming, getting near the end of her time. And as you can see up here, her movements are very, very slow. She's still feeding. We still feed her every day. But you can see these big holes in the web. She's not producing silk anymore, not like she was. So she's not repairing this web, which is sort of telling us she's getting near the end of her time. There's bits of web still here, what have you, some here. But there's big portions of it which have disappeared now. And sometimes in the mornings we find her down on the desk and we put her back up and we leave her there. Now, one of the things that she did do was she produced this.
Hold on, just going to get in so they can still see
She's still in lovely condition, but she's just getting slow now. She's a bit of an old lady, really. As you can see, she's still got a really good abdomen, and this is because we're feeding her every day. And she's taken on small crickets, so we don't give her nothing too large, just something big enough that she gets a good meal from it. Now, when we were cleaning in here the other day, we found this. Now, this is an egg sac that she has produced, and it's almost like a Brillo pad. It's very, very wiry, sticky sort of stuff. Look at that. Where my hands are quite rough, my hands are through work and that, they're very rough, so it catches on the slightest little imperfections on my thumb. You see how it pulls that? The egg sac is inside here now, and this is all a protective covering, and this was found underneath the shelf. So she'd come in and she'd put it up underneath here, all under there, and the chances are this is not going to be any good because she wasn't very big when we got her. So I would imagine that this will be a dud sack. Now what we're going to do, we are going to leave it hanging up in the room, and we might put it in an enclosure actually, just in case it does hatch, because we don't know if it's viable or not. So, but it's an interesting thing, and it's not like any other egg sacs that you see. Very, very different compared to the ones that we see from our tarantulas and stuff like that. So it literally is like a fluffy ball. Now we can feel that there's something in there, but as I say, we don't know if it's any good. I very much doubt that it is any good. But we're going to hang on to it, and we will see what happens. Now, unfortunately for our female, she really hasn't got much longer left now. They are very, very seasonal, and we keep feeding her, and as long as she keeps feeding, she'll stay up there and she'll do her thing. But the main thing that we've noticed is the lack of silk production. So it just shows that she is starting to slow down. She's shutting down, and it's sad, but she has given us many hours of pleasure. And this is something that would happen in the wild as well. Once they've gone through their summer, done their season, they die off. So they don't last forever, which is a shame because they are a wonderful spider. But this is often said for many of the true spiders. A lot of the true spiders only last their season and then they go, they die. So yeah, we will keep this, and we thought we'd show you that, just to show you a little bit, something a little bit different, bit of interest. Now as our diamantinensis is starting to have a little look around. There she goes, she's underneath. You see that as soon as they find somewhere dark to hide, they dive in there, they're gone, they're done. Looking for that little bit of sanctuary. Right then, well I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And we will see you all very soon.